Now I'm going to make my previous video about shadow work as activism much clearer, because it was a bit confusing. There was too much stuff, I've been told. Okay, let's begin with the idea of the human psyche as an iceberg, yeah? The tip of the iceberg is above the water, and it's really small, and it's the conscious part of the psyche. Under the water, it's huge. It's absolutely huge, and that's the personal unconscious. But further down, further deeper, is the collective unconscious. And all the icebergs are united in the collective unconscious. Carl Gustav Jung said that between the conscious and the unconscious, there should be a sort of homeostatic system in which material from the unconscious regularly passes to the consciousness, and of course, material from the consciousness influences the unconscious. And he said as well that everything in the unconscious needs to be expressed in one way or another. Yeah? So regularly, material from the unconscious must pass onto consciousness. Of course, this happens in dreams, but it depends on what we do with those dreams. Yeah. The thing is that if that shadow part, so in the unconscious lie, we have the potential to be absolutely anything. So the killer, the thief, all that lies in the unconscious of every single human being. It depends on the circumstances that you're in. Yeah. I must say, I work in prison, and in the prisons, the statistics of the prison say that 90 or even more % of the people who are in prison have gone through a certain kind of upbringing. Yeah. So they're in a very high percentage, their behavior largely depends on upbringing, on their family, on abuse, on violence, so it's influenced by that. Yeah. So yes, we have the potential to be anything in the unconscious, in the personal unconscious. Yeah. But since we are also connected to the collective unconscious, even more. So we have the potential to be absolutely anything. Yeah. No matter if we had a fantastic upbringing. Yeah. And therefore, if this material from the unconscious, especially the more difficult parts, the ones that we would like to hide, the ones that can be stigmatized if we express them, that needs to be transformed, constantly transformed, and expressed and known. We need to be aware of this potential that lies in the unconscious. Yeah. So what happens? We live in a society in which it's a society that labels people. And so we label ourselves, no, I'm a good guy. Yeah, on top of the tip of the iceberg, you might be a very good guy, but, that's a label. So, and identity is multiple and ever-changing. So, if there is the possibility to be anything, in any case, we do need to transform that and to express it in one way or another. Yeah. But, as I said, in a society which is mainly labeling people, and we label ourselves, and in education, not so long ago, parents would say, in my childhood that happens, oh, look at your sister, she's so good, you're bad, My mother used to tell me, you're aggressive, putting labels on me. So in a society that is based on labels and stereotypes, which does not respect the fact that we're all connected, and I will go into that, and that respect the fact that each one of us has the potential to be anything. So if you tell a child you are bad, you are putting a label, and probably this child will believe that he's bad or she's bad, and therefore that's the beginning of stigma, and perhaps this child will be becoming, or will be not becoming, but it will be behaving badly, yeah, because of this label. Anyway, the thing is that if we should be expressing this, what I call shit, no, the shadow, the difficult parts in the unconscious, we should be expressing them one way or other, even going to the gym and with a punching ball, you know. We should be expressing, and of course being aware, expressing it at least to ourselves in order to be aware, in order to know ourselves, yeah. In a society in which you are labeled, and if you are, you know, you have decided that you have to behave very, very well, you know, so you behave very, very well, and therefore you completely ignore all the rest, all that potential. Actually, you're quite scared to discover that you're not so good as you think, you know, or that there is other parts that are not like you, like you want to show the world that you are, or to show to yourself that you are, yeah. So the thing is that this is the society of avoidance. So a huge amount of people do not listen to the unconscious, to that potential, and repress difficult emotions, repress all sorts of things, and of course then there are other people who just explode, yeah, with that shit, you know, or with that shadow, you know, who become the shadow themselves, you know. The thing is that if we are all connected in the collective unconscious, which is something that it's not only Carl Gustav Jung, it's also systemic psychology, which speaks about the connection. The origins of systemic psychology is the theory that originates is by Gregory Bateson, who said that we're all part of one only thing, you know, and that we're all interconnected. And in fact, if you really think about it, in a family, for example, which is a system, you know, there's always this member of the family which is a rebel, or which goes against all the rest, yeah. And this depends on the system. I was the rebel, yeah. I was the rebel, so, and I was the rebel in a family. Yes, there were other rebels. My sisters were also a bit of a rebel, but I think that also our family of rebels was responding to the fact that my father's family were all high-rank officials in the Spanish Navy during Franco's dictatorship, and they were like extreme right-wing and fascist. Yeah? So I think that my history as a drug addict and a prostitute, it was also not only in response to that family culture. Yeah. So in systemic psychology, what we say is that each member of the system adds what's missing. Yeah. So if you are living in a family that is very, very stiff, very rigid, there's going to be one member of the family who is going to be incredibly rebellious and explosive. Yeah. So we're all connected. This is why, and this is my theory now, all that shadow that is never expressed, that is avoided at all costs, that is repressed, lies in the collective unconscious. And being this society, a society of avoidance in which a vast majority of people are not free to express how they feel or to express the more difficult parts of themselves, then the collective unconscious is really full of shit, full of shadow, which needs expression. And when the collective unconscious is so full, so crammed with shit, which should come out, yeah, it explodes, perhaps in wars, perhaps in tsunamis, perhaps in, of course, that's not the only reason of the wars, yeah, there's other reasons, but in a way, energetically, I do believe that those of us who are ready to work on their shadow, who have been working on their shadow for a long time, we can be really becoming hubs for all that shadow to come out, and therefore facilitate the cleansing of the collective unconscious. Because what's happening right now, it's people in power who are hiding the truth, who are manipulating the truth, telling lies, blaming the other. Like, we are the good guys, you know, the American, the North American government, we are the good guys, you know, and the Muslims, and Iran is a terrorist, or Putin is a demon, so they're demonizing the other. But every single one of us has their demons. We have our own demons, so it's useless to think that it's the other. No? And it's just so incredible that, I mean, we've gone to the moon and back. We've invented so many things. It's just incredible what man has accomplished. And the most simple thing, yes, it's simple, to solve the conflicts between each other and to live together, we cannot do it. Or at least they don't want to do it, perhaps, because if they wanted to do it, there would be loads of experts who are facilitating conflict resolution. But this is just, it's incredible. It's incredible. Because we're all risking the nuclear war right now. I mean, anyway, so what I propose is that those of you who believe me and who agree with me, then what happens? That what I have created, my method, is SPEX. It's a dispositive for individual transformation and social activism. And it is a dispositive in the same way, like Foucault was naming this a dispositive, a group of elements that are working together for a current urgency. Yeah? And so I won't go further with the definition of dispositive, but SPEX is a dispositive, is a photographic dispositive. Now, photography, as Walter Benjamin said, and even Freud said, has the power to access the unconscious. Yeah? So remember everything I said about the human psyche and the iceberg and the unconscious that needs expression. Yeah? So photography, of course you can go to therapy and you can, dig into your unconscious as much as you want, okay? But with photography, you don't need to talk about that, it just comes out, because with the self-portrait, in the self-portrait we are author, subject, and spectator. And the dynamic of relationship between these three roles trigger the unconscious to speak with the language of art. That's thanks to photography. Yeah. So, with the self-portrait in SPEX, in which we don't see ourselves, we don't pose, we are vulnerable, and we are lost, and we produce an image in which we don't even recognize ourselves. It's amazing. We don't even recognize it's the other. Yeah? But then in the process of perception, the work that we do on perception of these images, we start recognizing thoughts, emotions, values, life experiences, and then we take possession of this other, and in order to enrich our identity. So it's like this image shows another me that I didn't know, but by working on the perception of this image, I'm going to take possession of that other in me, and I'm going to feel much richer, much stronger and wiser, because I've come to know another part of myself. Yeah? Now I'm going to show you how we work on the images. Now these images have been produced in my studio. I have done over 4,000 or 4,200 self-portrait sessions in my studio, and it's a session on the expression of emotions. There are many other exercises, but this is the expression of emotions, which is one of the most important exercises. Now, you see the face of this girl, yeah? And what do you see? What do you see that she is telling you? If she was in front of you, looking at you like that, what is she telling me? Okay, I feel that she's looking at me and she's a bit upset or sort of disappointed in me. Perhaps I have said something that has disappointed her, hurt her. Anyway, that's the whole face. But then, when we see her left side, which is connected to the right brain hemisphere, and it's the emotional side, the more introspective, I see that she's sad. I see sadness and loneliness. And sort of, she's, introspect. She's less relating to me, more introspective and sad. Whereas on her right side, which is connected to the left brain hemisphere, she's angry at me. Or at least that's what I see. Because perception is 50% subjective. So it partly depends on my life experiences. And it changes all the time because it depends on my life experiences, which change all the time. Okay? So this is the side of the mind, it's the side of the goal, and it's the side of the strategy to get what we want. So it's stronger, yeah? It's very different. And it's the same picture. Yeah? Now, see, another picture. What do I see here? I see as if he's also disappointed and sad and a bit angry. Here, a bit more sad, sort of hurt more than disappointed. Hurt. He feels the pain, but I can see also some anger. And here, wow, this is the side of the goal and the strategy. Here he's really thinking about what he will do and more proud, whereas here, no. Here I can see the pride and the strength, yeah? And look at this picture is amazing. Okay, I see a lot of pain, but a lot of determination. But let us see. This picture is incredible because there's a huge difference between the two sides. On this side, the emotional side, normally people see, I use a lot this picture in my workshops, and people say that she's giving up, that she's completely in despair, completely torn. And if we wait a little bit, people start saying, she can't take this anymore, she's angry, she won't tolerate this anymore. So they're talking about it's like at the beginning there's pain, but then there's anger, and then there's strength. So the perceptions change, yeah? And this is the more emotional, introspective side, whereas this side, people see hope as if she's going to make it. Yeah, she's gone over it. She has really gone over her pain. Like, there's no pain anymore, or almost, yeah. So you see, the face shows us that we are a union of opposites. There's always something very, very positive. There's always points of strength. There's always the greatness of the person. There are the vulnerabilities, but also the strengths. So when I invite people to look at their shadow, you don't only look at your shadow, you also see your greatness. It's just, the face contains all that, and contains a myriad of different emotions and thoughts, and we never judge. We never, ever, ever judge the person. We only say what we see. This is not a kind of diagnosis of who you are, absolutely not. We're only looking at the photograph, and we talk about he or she or them, and we never judge, yeah? So this shows you that looking at your vulnerability doesn't mean that you're going to see only the vulnerability. You're going to see a lot of strength, because it goes together, yeah? Also, I have to say that people who are in prison, for example, I work in prison since many years, they're already touching rock bottom. Or people who are suffering a lot, they are already touching rock bottom. So when they do this exercise, it's not hard for them to look at their shadow, because they've been into the shadow. No? They see a lot of strength, so it's not so difficult for the people who are suffering more. Yeah. But I propose also to do video. You can start with pictures, expressing your emotions, and I will put the link of my video with the instructions of the emotions exercise, so you can do it on your own, yeah? Without looking at yourself while you're taking pictures. So use the normal camera and not the frontal camera, because if you look at yourself, you're going to be posing, you're going to be too concerned with your appearance, yeah? Anyhow, you can take pictures, but then you can also make a video. Make a video showing and talking about your vulnerabilities, yeah? And then you can share it with me, of course. You can send it to me. You can upload it unlisted on YouTube, and then send me the link.